this, and you think right away that it's some type of like a late hit. Now, he may have gotten the face mask. No, that's not a face mask. But Mims was still running down the sideline. Jones was still trying to catch him. They call it a dead ball foul. Tackled out of bounds, and it compounds Texas's woes today.
That's just the second completion by Ed Lovell on his 10th attempt.
You know, the first thing comes to mind, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there saying, how long has it been since since Texas has been shut out? It's been a long, long time.
It's been 9 years almost exactly. They were shut out by the Baylor Southwest Conference Championship team, led by Mike Singletary in 1980, 16-0 in Waco.
How'd you come up with that so quick?
I was there.
Oh, okay. You're just a little kid.
The end zone at Baylor Stadium. And there were some very similar aspects of that game because the Texas offense had as much trouble moving against that Bear defense as they're having today. That was a Texas team that was as high as number 2 in the nation at one point and then really sagged as Baylor came on. Probably Grant Tapp's best overall team. They were 10-1. Their only loss was to San Jose State of all people until Alabama rolled over them in the Cotton Bowl. Well, they're still trying to decide where to mark this. And what would they be discussing?
Well, I think what they're doing is take where the actual infraction happened. Where did he go out of bounds?
This is a major penalty. It'll be a first down.
See, the point of the infraction happens at where he went out of bounds. And I think he ran out of bounds about 4 or 5 yards, and when they threw the flag, they came in from that spot. But that's not the spot where the infraction is marched off from.
Michigan adding a touchdown. Penn State still up. Indiana 11-3, and Illinois rolling early over Northwestern. Michigan State also up second quarter over Wisconsin. First and goal, 8-yard line. Lovell just got it off and way over his intended receiver, Alonzo Pierce, number 88, the tight end. Boone Powell put on the pressure. Other scores on our Dr. Pepper Roundup. Minnesota up 10-0 over Iowa first half. Air Force may be bound for the Liberty Bowl in Memphis here on Raycom, up over Utah in the second quarter. And Mississippi also probably headed to the Liberty Bowl. They're underway against Mississippi State. December 29th, by the way, from the Liberty Bowl in Memphis. David Mims cuts back, slipped inside, and scored.
Oh, the big mark was where was his knee down? Did he in fact stretch out there? Was the ball down? I thought they might mark it short, but they signaled touchdown. But he did. You talked about stretched. He stretched all the way out in the end zone.
Second touchdown of the year for the Dangerfield freshman. Their third leading rusher coming in. And 29-0 Bears. We've still got more than half the third quarter to go at a stunned, silent Memorial Stadium. 8 minutes and 29 seconds.
I think you said a key word there. I mean, everybody is stunned. Even Bevo sitting in the end zone is stunned. Hasn't even moved.
I think Judge is stunned. Richard almost blocked it, but it goes for Jeff Ireland.
Yeah, maybe we can see this again as we watch this run. Let's see where the ball is when his knee goes down. I thought his knee went down right in here. See, I thought his knee was right there. That's where I thought his knee was down.
1.5 yard lines where it should have been marked down.
Oh, boy. Now, that ball would have been on at least a 1.5, maybe 2. Let's watch his knee, and let's see if we can stop it right where his knee goes down and see where the ball exactly is. Now, it's a great run. There's nothing wrong with the run. But right in there, the ball's down right there, and you can see it's clearly a yard or 2 from the end zone.
But the side judge never hesitated, and Baylor adds to their mounting margin over the Horns.
How many freshmen have played a vital role in this Texas team? They have a lot of freshmen that are going to be back next year, a lot of experienced players.
All 3 of their fullbacks in the 3 deep that we had before this game are freshmen as Lamell goes again, and Foreman spun down after a couple up to the 32. I'm talking about Winfred Tubbs, Jason Burleson, and Bubba Smith. Andre Eady is the fullback right now, number 34. And then at the tailback spot, both Adrian Walker and Lamell Foreman. Gardera, of course, a quarterback, a freshman.
Derek Duke
has had some big catches. We haven't seen him yet today at the wideout.
And they've got one of their deep offensive linemen, Jeff Boyd, who started for him this season. He's a freshman too, so they've got a lot of hope.
Adrian Walker back in just in time to get nailed behind the line by Darren Franklin. Another Bear in his final game on a Dallas Kimball. 9th tackle for a loss by Franklin this year.
Boy, this is just flying off the ball. Don't worry about anything. He almost takes the hand off. That's how far in the backfield he was. Dropped him for about a 3-yard loss.
Going to bring up 3rd and long. They need a long 11. And Gardere over the middle. It's Scott Govan, and he's going to be well short of the first. Brought down at the 36-yard line. So the Texas punting situation again. Fans not liking it. Thinking at 30-0. What does field position mean anymore?
Yeah.
Why not go for it?
Well, you'll always have to look at that in the scoreboard. If you don't punt away, the sensible thing to do is you play football the right way. And the sensible thing to do is to punt the ball away.
Francis not able to get close on that Lil Jadal punt. And here goes Frank. Trying to turn it up the sideline into Longhorn territory.
This may be a net 3-yard punt. If my math is right, they kicked it from the 36-yard line, their own 36-yard line. And if where Frank came down with the ball, this is a short net punt. Net is the difference when you subtract the return from what the punt was, and look where Frank comes down with the ball. He's out of bounds. Wow.
33-yard punt, 23-yard return, net of 10. 7 minutes to go at Ann Arbor. Ohio State within 3. Michigan hoping for a Rose Bowl berth, as are the Buckeyes. And if Texas loses here, that cements the Cotton Bowl berth for the Arkansas Razorbacks. David Mims, fresh off one touchdown, may have another. Nope, chased out of the 14.
That's surprising. And I'm sure Grant Taft will say something to him there. You don't run out of bounds. Oh, look at there. Wait a minute. Let me correct that. He pulled a hamstring. Let me correct it. I didn't think he would run out of bounds. He's too good a player to run out of bounds. But what he does is on the end of this run, and watch this, it's a misdirection, a counter. They start one way, comes back. Watch the tail end of this. I was surprised to see Mims run out of bounds, but right in here he gets a twinge or something. Something in the hamstring area and limped over to the sideline. Won't be so fast to criticize, Dave Rowe.
Reggie Miller went in motion, and Raphael at the 15 hit hard by Mark Berry. Much improved in his sophomore season at cornerback.
I want to tell you, I was just surprised to see Mims run out of bounds because he's not that kind of player. He's one of them put your head down, blast it up through there. I know he's only a freshman, and he's pretty small as far as stature. 5'9", 176 pounds, but he is a tough individual.
John Kernpaw leaving for Baylor. The big 330-pound left guard.
And he's just a sophomore. He'll be back for many years here on this Baylor team. 6'2", 230, and what a drive blocker he is. Very hard worker out there.
As Mims gets some attention on that hamstring. Gilstrap, slot right. Raphael, the tailback on second down. And a long 10, and here goes Eldwin Raphael. Knocked out inside the 10 on a nice hit by Van Malone, the freshman from Houston Waltrip. We talked about the freshman on offense, Dave. It's almost the same situation on defense where they had only 2 senior starters today, and those were the only 2 seniors on their 2 deep defensively. Raphael, a nice day working. The team had a total only 59 rushing yards in the first half. Raphael spinning off the original contact by Gunn and then finished off by Boone Powell. Ryan Jones also in on the stop.
Boy, when you think they're going in the middle, this is what Texas thinks. They're going in the middle, and they really crunched it in the middle. Good tackle there by Brian Jones, getting the head up, just turned them back. if they pulled that ball down and had gone outside, they'd have picked up yardage.
And you saw the swarming there that used to be a trademark of this Texas defense 10 years ago, 8 years ago, when they were yearly one of the top 2 or 3 in the country. You'd see gang tackling almost every play as they work on the left hand of John Turnpike.
They're going to retape his left hand. That's what they're doing there. They took off the tape or glove that he wears.
Ireland from 24 yards adds 3 more, and it's 33-0 Bears. 4 minutes and 12 seconds, third quarter, in a historic rout for the Bears. Jeff Ireland's 24-yard field goal makes it 33-0 Baylor. 4:12 to go, third quarter. And once again, Adrian Walker and Chris Samuels hoping to get a return off. Ireland's right instep's going to be sore. They have to ice him down after this game.
And this kickoff coverage team, too, because they have run down every time just wide open.
Only 3 yards deep this time. Boy, did you see Lachey Maston do a cartwheel at the 10-yard line as Samuels reached the 20. Good heavens.
That's what you call the wedge buster. Watch Maston on this. Watch right in the middle of your screen. You're going to see number 6. He's going over top of the wedge. I'll tell you one thing. He's lucky he didn't hurt himself because he completely flipped over top of the wedge and came down kind of on his shoulder. That's what you call the old wedge buster.
Absolutely nothing to do with the tackle, but it was fun to watch. Jones and Johnny Walker back in. They both go wide right. And on the reverse, Tony Jones did not fool John Godfrey. Now here comes the block. And Jones may get something out of this after all. He does. 6 yards.
I want to tell you who threw a good block. Gardere threw a good block. You don't often look at a quarterback getting a chance to throw a block. But this reverse fools nobody because they have perfectly defensive with backside containment. See how they force Jones deep? Now watch Gardere come back right here. Bam, there he is. He gets that block. Jones, with that great speed that he has, is able to set up a couple blocks there and pick up plus yardage on what could have been just a disaster run.
Charles Cephas and Johnny Walker also with key blocks that time. Yeah, that was almost a loss of 10 or 12 yards. And he ran a long way to net 6. Samuel, first down, 35, dropped it.
He fumbled it. Oh, boy.
And we wait for the official indication. The Bears think they know where it's headed, and they're right. James Francis gets the recovery.
Well, Mr. Everything in the Southwest Conference as a defensive player. What a day he's had. The right man in the right time. He just drops the ball. The ball looked as if it just fell out of his hands, much like it did the last time. He wasn't down. You can see there, Francis was just on the ground. The ball, as he was going down, it looked like he just, again, loses concentration and just drops the ball, much like he did on that one little play.
And there's the story of the game.
Oh, boy.
Third fumble recovery of the year by Francis. Baylor, Texas, 34-yard line, running their own reverse to Reggie Miller, and a wipeout block springing him inside the 30. The block thrown by Terry Gray, the left tackle. And Miller, a long career ahead of him, is the freshman out of Waco. At the 27-yard line here.
Now watch, this is a long working reverse, but watch Terry Gray come back here. He picks up right there, gets a good block. It's a good high block. Again, it's not the one where you try to get down low and may cause an injury. It's a high block up in the chest.
It was on Bo Robinson, so Berry chased him out. Gain of 7. Raphael turned back by Richard. Did not get the first.
I'll tell you, if you stay in coaching long enough, and I know Nick Williams has been in a long time, as has Grant Taft, you get one of these days when everything goes wrong. I can think back in my own career, and like I say, if you play this game long enough, you're going to see games like this. But this is the kind of afternoon that you just hope that you just don't have to put up with. You can see David McWilliams is just saying, just keep on ticking clock because we're just not getting any breaks. And Grant is over there saying, this is one of the most wonderful games I've ever been through.
Lovell on the fake. again looked like he didn't get the first, but a flag is down late after another Stanley Richard tackle.
It's got to be a hold against Baylor. Yep, that's what it is. Boy, and as a coach, now right now you can enjoy him, but I can tell you if this game is 17-14, that just turns the acid in the stomach. Right now you just say, well, if you're Grant Taft, you're a gentleman, you don't want to embarrass any other team. You're just saying, well, just keep the clock going.
Holding. Offense. Still third down.
Taft 7-8 in his career against Texas. 0-8 in Austin until today. David McWilliams has never experienced anything like this in this stadium against the Bears. Nor did Fred Akers before him, nor
Darrell Royal
before him.
You're going to go a long way back. You may get back to Dana Bible.
I may. And that's not a bad idea with 2:38 to go in the third. They need 11 on third down. No flag. Now it comes. Catch made and then knocked away from Raphael as the hit came by Anthony Curl, but we'll see if perhaps James Patton wasn't offsides for Texas.
Well, you can see all day long they've just lacked that concentration on the defensive line. You see there's another signal, excuse me, of offsides. It's just lack of concentration. It's the little things that win football games, and these little things cost you and lose football games.
Third down.
They just have not had the concentration. That's a typical fan reaction. That's the way the Texas fans have watched today's game. I think everybody in the stadium, including me and you, are stunned at the showing by Texas. It's just not a normal showing. We're talking about a team that had a good shot to go to the Cotton Bowl prior to this game, prior to yesterday's game, excuse me.
Yeah, and in 24 hours they go from that to this. Elbow hit by Burnett as he let it fly and broken up by Mark Berry. Intended for Reggie Miller down the sideline.
That was great coverage by Berry. He's considered, David McWilliams says he is the best and the hardest working defensive back he has, one of the hardest working players, and that's just great coverage. He has inside position on him. He's running stride for stride with him. This is when you have to look for those little things that really you pull out and you just say, hey, we can go off of that next year, and he's a worker and he's a good player, and you just got to look for the positive things in the football game.
Ireland's 50-yarder might have been good from 55. This one from 47. And Burnett almost got a hand on it. That one might have been good from 60.
Well, Ireland's done this a lot. You can see the wind there blowing, the velocity of the wind. He got it up in the air. Good hold here again. Nice hold this time, no problem. You can see Ireland, he knows immediately it's good.
And so did his holder, Ken Brentham. One more angle.
And there's the way that kick comes off, and it just goes just straight as an arrow right down the middle. And it certainly was high enough. It was at the top. It was almost at the top of the goalpost when it crossed.
Well, that's as deep as I think we've seen all year. And Taft now up 36-0. Well, the historical angle you brought up, it was Ed Price's first year at Texas, 1951. He had a good team. They went 7-3, but that Baylor win here, 18-6, was one black mark against him, and he is better known as the man who preceded Darrell Royal's debut. Royal onto the scene in 1957 after Price went 1-9 the previous year.
Well, you're just a walking book of factual information here.
When I've got my walking book of factual information. Samuel's not even trying anymore. With good reason.
Now, if that guy takes the ball and runs off with it, we'll be all right. There it is, 4 plays, 4 yards. Of course, the fumble set that up on 1 minute and 28 seconds, which ended in the Ireland's 47-yard field goal. Again, great field position for Baylor all day long. I bet they've started 3/4 of their drives inside the 50-yard line via fumbles, interceptions. They have just had it today.
It's going to be interesting to compare total offense at this point because Texas moved the ball more consistently really than Baylor, especially first half, but the turnovers wipe out whatever advantage they might have. Tony Jones knocked out of his hands by Malcolm Frank. And they say no reception, no fumble. It'll be 2nd and 10, and Gardere has to pick himself up.
You can see, maybe you can see that right elbow of his that was swollen. Seeing the point of the elbow? He had some fluid in there, and that's been sore. Also in the upper shoulder. There's the elbow. You see the swelling in there? It's kind of the roundness of it. And watch this shot that he takes. This doesn't help his shoulder any. Boom, he goes down. Fortunately, it's on his left shoulder. The right shoulder is the one that has been sore for him.
Reggie Howard, the right tackle, put him down. Play action. Chased again. And hog-tied at the 16. The tackle at that point by an unnamed Bear. We don't have him. He's number 34.
An unnamed Bear. Well, he makes a big play. His mom and dad know who he is. He just throws him down out of bounds there. I believe it's Ray.
You know who that may be? Anthony Ray, who was not listed on the roster coming in. He had the 4 knee operations and decided he's done as a running back, and he's a defensive end. He made that decision just a few days ago. Anthony Ray from Horton. Guess what? Robert Blackman's got number 3, but he's 5 yards away from tying Johnny Jackson's NCAA record with his 3rd touchdown interception return.
Boy, when you can sit back there and play like Robert Blackman. You talked about 5 yards away. See him right in the back of your screen here. See him 21 right up there. He's just playing the quarterback. He just crouches down. There's the ball. It's thrown. It looks as if it's thrown right to him. I think it was intended for Walker, but you're right. He comes up 5 yards short of tying the NCAA record. That would have been his 3rd time into the end zone. Now, one thing, he doesn't make the offense drive very far, does he?
Gardere may say, Coach, Blackman was open.
Yeah. Been open 3 times today. And Francis been open twice.
David Mims back in after that hamstring and gets half of what they needed on 1st and goal at the 5. What a day for Robert Blackman, the senior from Van Vleck. Now 8 interceptions for the year and 4 in the last 2 games. He had 1 against Rice last week.
What a day for Robert Blackman.
I'm guessing this is a Texas fan.
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Mims got 3. 2nd and goal at the 2. Mims again, cuts back. Might not have gotten anything. We was hit at that point by Richard and Bo Robinson, and it'll be 3rd down and goal.
And I want to tell you now, just to be honest with you, Texas is not this bad a team. They are not this bad a team. This reminds me of the Notre Dame-Virginia game that we did in the beginning of the season, the kickoff classic, where Virginia just was blown off the map, and everybody said they're terrible. They came back to win 10 football games. Every once in a while, you experience a game like this where everything goes wrong.
And Ray into the end zone for a touchdown. This is a nice scene for a man coming off 4 knee operations.
Now, we just saw him playing on defense. Now we see him. What do you do, change his mind, Dave?
Well, maybe a little from 3 yards out. Anthony Ray, highly recruited running back from Horton, but the injuries have combined to make him a defender until that play. And now it's 42-0. We're still not done in the 3rd quarter. 43, 1:11 to play in the 3rd.
Again, this is Ray. He just takes the ball. It's just a straight handoff. Get behind those big offensive linemen. There's the seam. Jones doesn't make it over quick enough, and he just bursts into the end zone for another 7 points. And let me tell you what it's like to be a defensive player in a game like this. I've been in this situation. If you play long enough, like I say, you're going to have it happen. Boy, it's a long day. You can hear that clock tick in your helmet. It's just going bong, 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 and those are seconds going off the
Chinese water torture. Well, we're going to see Mark Murdoch.
Well, I think it's about time.
Why not? Warming up along with Ford. There's Anthony Ray. Sophomore.
Everybody back in 1.
What's he saying? Everybody back where?
Oh, yeah.
Love y'all. I heard that part. I think he's telling everybody back home.
Yeah, right now, number one.
Oh,
Yes.
you got that part right. How much did we have to get? Well, we couldn't pay him anything, not until he graduates. He got that apple.
Samuel 6 yards deep this time. 1:11 to go. Texas down 43-0. The worst shutout defeat that they have experienced in the last 33 years before today. 1956, as we said, Ed Price's last year. Oklahoma beat them 45-0, and this one is 43-0. That loss helped cement Price's fate. And in the fourth quarter, Michigan still hanging on by 3. Pitt has tied Penn State in the fourth.
And there's Indiana ahead of Purdue.
Ardare remains the quarterback. Adrian Walker remains the tailback. And he was one man away from big yardage up the sideline. As it is, he got 13.
You know, we haven't called Santana Dotson's name a lot today, but that was a good example of cross-the-field run by him. He's just one of these sophomores on this Baylor defense as we look at some of the other scores on this Dr. Pepper Roundup. But Dotson, just a sophomore, has made some big plays for this Baylor defensive team. There's so many people that need to be singled out on this defense, and that's what it's been. It hasn't been that Texas has played that poorly. It's just a combination of great defense and poor playing.
Walker playing off Sam Thomas's block to the 34 for only 1, and we're inside of 1 minute in the third quarter. Again, Texas last shut out by Baylor in Waco, 1980, 16-0. Well, you wonder if the Longhorns in another 30 years will ever experience a game like this. It's almost like Haley's Comet to play like this at home. 104 games is the streak. It's the second longest in conference history. Walker on second down puts his head down into Malcolm Frank, who wrestles him to the turf at the 39, and that may be the last play of the third quarter. Adrian Walker still trying to chase the Earl Campbell freshman rushing record. 20 carries, only 59 yards today. He came in with 739 and needed just about 200.
Hasn't that?
Years ago, he was team captain at Snyder High School with aspirations of eventually getting the job that Spike Dykes has, head coach at Texas Tech. He ended up at Baylor, and he is in the process of rewriting Bear history.
Snyder High School. Well, he's one of the true gentlemen in the Southwest Conference. We've got some great coaches in this conference, and he is truly one of them.
Yeah, and we talked about how Texas isn't this bad. Baylor's not as bad as their 4-6 record would indicate. Maybe not as good as 43-0 over Texas, but today will help solve a lot of their wounds that have built up over the year. Flag down as Johnny Walker makes the catch at the 44. Frank hit him, and we'll see what happened near the line.
I don't know if that's 2 flags or not. I saw one in the line, but I thought that was a flag out at the 50-yard line. Maybe that's just a piece of paper.
Offense, third down.
Yeah, I guess that's just a piece of paper laying there. Looks like a yellow piece of paper.
Our third quarter stats.
And if you're a Texas fan, they should be horrible.
But look at the total yards. Texas still leads by 18, still more first downs. 4 times as many passing yards, but 7 turnovers.
That's the horrible part of it. And really, Baylor has not really, I mean, when you hold a team to 180 yards, you're thinking 6, 7, maybe 10 points at max. You don't think of 43 points with 180 yards?
Gardere rolling against the all-out blitz. Nothing wrong with his legs, and he backs his way up to his 42-yard line. Going to be close for a first down gain. He got 14.
You're right. Gardere has the leg power to get outside. It's good rolling pocket here. He picks up a couple nice blocks and then makes it on his own. There's no ducking out of bounds. He's trying to get every yard that he can to get up for that first down. But I think they're going to be a couple yards short.
And they're booing because the punting team comes on 4th down and 1 at their own 41.
Well, I can just say you don't want to give the team the ball on the 40-yard line.
Yeah, that marker is incorrect. It is not second down.
Fourth down.
Liljedahl finally with the wind behind him as Frank lets it go, and this one will it be down at the 1. Anthony Curl does get it before it rolled into the end zone.
I thought that the person downing it might have been in the end zone.
Paul Bierman got it first, and then Curl after a 57-yard boomer by Liljedahl, one of the few highlights for the Longhorns on a very long afternoon. 43-0 Baylor. Just started in the fourth quarter. Dave Barnett, Dave Rowe after the Liljedahl 57-yard punt. Baylor for maybe the first time all day is backed up near its own end zone. We got a new quarterback, Ricky Vestal, number 12. With the give to Gilstrap, driven back, and they will mark his forward progress at the 2, so no safety despite what the Horn players are asking for.
Well, they did.
No, they say a fumble recovery. Boy, I didn't see that.
Wow, I didn't see that either, and it's the first time we heard the cannon fire. Now, there's a ruling here that if his forward progress is stopped, then that's where you mark the ball, but evidently he gave it up prior. You see there, Gilstrap in there, gets out there. There, the ball comes loose right there.
Well, that's why they were celebrating, and
yes.
Bo Robinson burrows down to the bottom of that pile. From that angle, it looked like he got the recovery, and we may see that Texas scoring streak remain alive.
This has got to be the first break that I can think of, even close to a break for Texas all day long.
From the key. Adrian Walker cut back, but did he get in?
No way. He didn't get in. They're going to mark it on about the 6-inch line.
Lackman came up along with Keith Caldwell. Most of the first-teamers for the Baylor defense still in the game. That's how far he is.
Well, what they're trying to do is let a lot of their seniors enjoy this. They haven't had a lot of enjoyment this year. Here comes Blackman into it also. Boom, and they just turned him around. I'm not sure that he didn't get in. I think the ball being that far back is why he didn't make it penetrate the plane.
On the dive, no question, and the Horns are finally on the board.
David McWilliams looks as if to say, well, what do you want? Because the Baylor defense, as they ran off the field, they were kicking the dirt. They were just upset that they allowed them to score on them.
But it's the same storyline. Put it on the Baylor offense. The defense shouldn't be faulted here.
Exactly.
We see Wayne Clements for the first time today, and he'll attempt his 21st PAT without a miss this year. Liljedahl with the hold, and Clements is good.
This is ground level. This is looking right down the line at the surge. There's no quit on either team. He clearly breaks the plane there. The ball is pulled out. Afterwards, you see the fumble. Once he breaks the plane, there can be no fumble. Now, there's the angle. Now, watch right here. There, he breaks the plane. Right there, he breaks the plane. Now, they're right because the ball does come out. You watch the ball come out right there at the tail end when they pull it out right in there. But he had already broken the plane, already had scored the touchdown.
Curtis Hafford tried to force that fumble. It was too late. And it is 43-7 with the Horns on the board. 13:06 to play. Well, there was a dead ball personal foul penalty after the extra point against the Horns, so that's why they're backed up to kick off from their 20-yard line now with their first score on the board on that dive by Adrian Walker, and the streak has hit 105 in a row.
And I'll tell you, Texas is thinking, Baylor is thinking onside kick. Now, this is a critical thing. If you kick an onside kick from your own 20-yard line, you give it to the opponent at about the 30 to 35-yard line. Now, that's almost a sure scoring position.
Well, if they wouldn't go for it from their own 40, I can't see an onside kick from the 20.
And that's what Baylor's thinking. They've got to eat guys up.
No such thing. And Cooper Taylor from his 15. Bocce Koch would be proud. 32-yard line on the return by a member of the Koch all-name team, Trooper Taylor. Sophomore out of Cuero. Also the hometown, of course, of Brad Gable. And Baylor now with 13 minutes remaining. 1st and 10, their own 34-yard line.
Well, he knows a lot of people to thank in this part of the season, and we've had a great season here at Raycom. 6 seasons now we've broadcast the Southwest Conference, so a lot of people to thank, especially the SIDs. I think of all the information that they give us.
Any specifics you have in mind?
Oh, I got some special awards for them.
Do you? Vestal in for his second series, and Raphael with a depleted running back core still in there, picks up 4. Dropped by Mark Steed. Now, the SIDs, who would that be?
Well, they're the sports information directors that send us all the information. First one comes to mind, of course, is the one from Rice, Bill Cousins. I give him the You Climb the Ladder Award because every time we go and do a game in Rice, we have to climb a ladder to get into the stadium.
You can't get in any other way.
That's right. So he gets the first award, the You Climb the Ladder Award.
Brought down by Bo Robinson and Jeff Higgins. And the Bears will look at 3rd down and 6 needed. So Anthony Ray's career as a defensive lineman short-lived because he's right back as a running back. And with the touchdown to his credit, our 6th permanent storyline, the turnovers. Everywhere you look, Blackman 3 interceptions, almost 3 touchdowns. He was 5 yards away from his 3rd. And Gardere suffering through a miserable day. And no doubt still affected by the sore shoulder and elbow. First pass by Vestal is complete to Melvin Bonner. And where they mark it, he's got a first down at the 45-yard line. Bonner is a freshman from Van Vleck, the same place that produced Robert Blackman.
Dave, I just wanted to whet your appetite on the all-SID team.
I'm going to guess more is coming.
Oh, you're going to get some more. Yeah, we got all the SIDs are mentioned on these awards, so I'll just keep you biting at your at the bait to see what happens.
Vestal on the draw play to Ray up the middle, 49-yard line. Well, that's a remarkable story you're seeing right there. After 2 knee operations on each side, Anthony Ray apparently may have a future as a running back after all. And, of course, next year they also will get Robert Strait, who was redshirted after his knee surgery this year. And if the 2 of them can live up to their high school clippings, that could be an awesome running back tandem.
Well, and they'll still have Eldwin Raphael there also, so they'll have some. David Mims will be in that backfield, too.
And Mims is dropped back at the 46. They'll look at 3rd down.
I don't believe we've seen David Loeb either, but he's another one of those freshmen.
Well, we've seen him, but he hadn't carried the ball.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
A couple of times, right?
Yeah.
And Vestal will be back. He is out of Houston Cypress Creek. Probably will be the #1 backup to Gable next year. Baylor hasn't done much on 3rd down, but they haven't needed to. This is 8 needed. They chase and can't get him. And Vestal falls for out of bounds at the line of scrimmage. Almost, but not quite. In the sack attempt by James Patton. It is all over. Michigan is headed to the Rose Bowl again. They add a late score and defeat the Ohio State Buckeyes 28-18. And also all over at Pittsburgh, and Penn State wins that battle for supremacy in Pennsylvania by 3. You're remarkably quiet on that. Illinois 42-7, second quarter against Northwestern. Intrastate rivalry, and Rudder against Sales, a beauty, fair catch by Samuels at the 9. 10:18 to play, 46 yards on the punt by Rudder, 43-7 Baylor. Dave and I will select the Coors player of the game coming up at the conclusion of today's telecast. 43-7 Baylor. And they have backed Gardere and the Horns up at their own 9-yard line. They keep it on the ground. I think they've seen enough of what putting it in the air means against this Baylor defense.
I think I'd keep it on the ground, too. Just
eat up the clock, get it over.
Yeah, eat up the clock, because when you're down by 36 points, you've got under 10 minutes to go. It's a long afternoon. There's just There's not much coming back. I've seen miracles happen on the football field, but never one this big.
Francis is still in, and Blackman is still in. Enjoying every moment. Adrian Walker again. Up to the 12. And the tackle there by Gary Hayes, the backup middle linebacker, number 55. Well, Adrian Walker will live to see better days for Texas. This is obviously a very sad conclusion to a decade of struggle, really, when you consider the Texas history coming into the 80s. They were almost invulnerable until this decade, and all of a sudden, they're not quite as hard to beat at home as they used to be. Gardere will go down inside his 5. Santana Dotson finally will get onto the highlight film.
What a highlight dance that they made on the tail end of that. This is just the pocket just crumbles around them. There's no place to go, no place to step up. And I can tell you, it's a defensive lineman's delight to play in a game like this. You can rush the passer and make them punt it out of their own end zone.
Francis missed by inches again. Iljadal, a boomer to the 39 for Malcolm Frank. Got away from Bierman, but only the 43. 55 yards on the kick by Iljadal. The return is 3, and we'll be back in Austin in a moment. 8:26 to play, and we got briefly into your all-SID team. Let's continue, shall we?
Well, I've got some great choices here. Of course, I pick out Rick Schaefer and the Maxie Parrish, Rick from Arkansas and Maxie from Baylor, and they get the Tom Bodette Motel 6 Award for getting us rooms at the last minute.
And the lights were on.
And they kept the lights on. Of course, from Texas Tech, you got Joe Hornaday and Kelly Robinson as assistant, and his other assistant, Daddy Warbucks, and they get the Entertainer of the Year Award for those great meals at the 50-yard line club, and I'll be back with another one in a minute.
I can't wait. Vestal to Mims, and he got hit right at the line of scrimmage by Michael Padgett, the backup middle linebacker, sophomore from Beaumont Central.
Well, let me touch on a couple more. For SMU, of course, Ed Wisniewski, and Ed is one of those wait till next year awards. He's had the patience and the professionalism to approach this season. It's been a tough season for him. And if you let them run this play, I'll give you a couple more.
Okay, let's do it. Play action for Vestal. Here comes Patton. Got away and hit as he lets it fly. It is caught by Bonner, who backed up almost to midfield and then may have gotten what he needed for the first. He needed the 48-yard line, and where they mark it, he's got it.
Yeah, Vestal just didn't get the trajectory on this ball because he got hit from the backside. Watch how close this ball is to not being completed. Right there, he doesn't get to deliver it all the way, and Bonner had to come back for the ball. He actually had to come back 4 or 5 yards, but he still got enough for the first down.
Anthony Scott was the man who hit Vestal right as he let it go. A lot of second-teamers getting a chance to play for the Longhorns now, and what a hit right at the line of scrimmage by Boone Powell, number 56. Another one of their young defensive standouts, sophomore from Duncanville.
Well, I'm going to quickly touch on a couple more SIDs, and these are the sports information directors. Of course, Ted Nance, he gets the worn-out pencil award. He's had to keep up with Andre Ware's statistics all year. Glenn Stone gets the Executive of the Year award from TCU for hiring the most attractive assistant, Lois Colcourse. And I'll be back with my last two in a minute.
You know how to build it up. On the reverse, Reggie Miller chased by Anthony Scott and then tripped up by Jeff Higgins. And we'll see where they mark him down. It'll be about the 44. He got 5.
Well, I saved the two best ones for last. Bill Little, he gets the Yeah, My Daughter Does Go to Texas Tech award because she was the happiest student here at Texas when Texas Tech beat Texas. And then the last one, Alan Cannon of Texas A&M. I'll hold that for just one more play.
3rd down and 6. They need the 38. Vestal over the middle to Mims. Didn't get the first down. He got hit by Paget about 2 yards shy, and now a flag.
Boy, oh boy. And if that's going to be piling on or spearing, it's just another part of the day. That's Michael Paget, but the flag looked like it was going to be thrown on. A blow to the head, I think that's what that symbol is. Watch the tail end of this. Mims was down, and he was just stretching. He stumbles here. Now he's down there.
Helmet contact. Defense.
Oh, boy.
First down.
No, I don't see that.
He grazed him, but there's no way he tried to hit him with the helmet.
No, I didn't see that at all. Okay, for my last one, let me give you my last one. Alan Cannon is the SID at Texas A&M, and he gets the Tradition Award. You're talking about a university, Texas A&M, that's steeped in tradition, and Alan didn't let us know about the famous Kool-Aid tradition,
which I think just started this year.
Which started at the Texas Tech game, but fortunately our man, Tommy Tate, Scoop Tate, was on the scene to give us poor information in the end zone. And it led to quite a controversy at Texas Tech, which we apologize for. But that's my list of the SIDs. And there's Scoop Tate right there. That was Scoop.
Undeserved on-air time, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Well, Tommy Cheater got the sack of Vestal back at the 30.
But in seriousness, Nate, let me just say one quick thing. We really do appreciate all the work that the SIDs do. They are very professional and just give us great information and really help us with our preparation.
I second that. Big sack, 34-yard line. Lance Wilson slinging Ricky Vestal to the turf on a 3rd and long, so on 4th down. Well, this will be 3rd down. Just under 5 minutes remaining. The sports information people, totally behind the scenes, unpublicized, are the people who load us up with so much of our information and keep us abreast right up sometimes until seconds before kickoff of things that we really need to know, and they, as you said, do an outstanding job. All 9 of them. Speed on the rush. Vestal let it go. Look at the open man. And into the end zone goes Mike McKenzie, a freshman from San Antonio Holmes, with his first catch of the year, and it's worth 6 points.
First catch of the year, and it's on a 3rd down and 17, 18 yards. And they find him wide open over the middle. Nobody within 5 yards of him. Just a breaking coverage. Someone missed him coming off the line of scrimmage. And the result,
33 yards on the completion. Vestal to McKenzie, who came out of the same high school that produced the Cash Twins and Johnny Walker for Texas. And Ireland makes it a 50-7 ball game.
There's no one more surprised than McKenzie. Watch how open he is when he catches this ball. There's nobody within 5 yards of him, maybe 10 yards. And he just puts that head down, finds it in his way into the end zone. Again, we may be able to see how wide open. It's just amazing that he's able to get this open. Watch to the left of your screen. There he is. Look how close everybody is to him. Nobody within 10 yards.
And the biggest day ever for the Bears against Texas continues. Baylor's biggest win before today against Texas, 38-14 in 1978. That was the famous worm game where Taft, in the locker room before the opening kickoff, swallowed that worm. They told you the story, and a little indigestion perhaps worth a 24-point victory that day. And that's the most points the Bears had ever scored against Texas home or away until today. And they shattered that by 12 points. Samuels finally with a chance to return a kick by Ireland into the wind, and he got it all the way out to the 33-yard line. 50-7, most points Baylor has ever scored against Texas in the 76th meeting in this rivalry.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I never expected it. I expected a close game. I thought Baylor would play well, mainly because their defense plays so well. But I thought it would be close because I thought Texas would still play, for the pride that we talked about in the opening. But everything has gone wrong. It's not that they haven't played with pride.
This is Lamell Foreman. James Francis still in there. He's going to squeeze every drop out of this he can, and he adds to his tackle total. And down is Jeff Boyd, who is a very highly thought of freshman redshirt from Fort Worth, Western Hills. The executive producer of Raycom Sports is Peter Roll. Senior coordinating producer and producer of today's game, Johnny Pius. Baylor versus Texas, directed by Lonnie Dale, our technical director, Stacy Smith, and our associate producer, David W. Hammond. And the rest of our fine crew.
There's Gina and Lee Friday, Kirk McCarley, our great statistician all year, Rick and Dee Ray. They're the owners. We've got to salute them. Ken Haynes, Max Boykin, Rick Walensik. That's the man I need tickets for, Rick, for the upcoming Diet Pepsi tournament. Some of the other people around here.
And the list goes on.
Yeah, there's Tommy Tate. I can't believe that we mentioned him, Scoop Tate. Some of the other videotape people. Since we have an outstanding crew here at Raycom.
Jeff Boyd helped to the sideline, and certainly we would hope that that's nothing serious for the final offensive lineman from Fort Worth, Lamell Foreman. And that is the grandson of Grant Taft, young Josh Bookbinder, on the shoulders of his father, Russ Bookbinder, who is the executive vice president of the San Antonio Spurs, and the husband of Kenny Taft Bookbinder, who just gave birth to their second grandchild, a daughter by the name of Jessie, just a few days ago.
And look who's coming out, number 38 in your scoreboard, number 1 in Baylor's heart today, James Francis.
Well, hard to imagine a better career. Gardner pops it up. And another Baylor takeaway. This one by Greg Effinger.
Number 97.
But a flag down.
Dave, while we wait for them to figure out what this flag is, it looks as if it's going to be tacked on to the tail end of this. We want to make special mention. One of our cameramen, Tom Cox, had to leave last night. His young son got sick, and he left last night about 3 o'clock in the morning to go to the hospital, and we sure want to wish Tom and his family all the best.
Foul clear. This way. First down.
You'll see Gardner has nowhere to go. Look at that pocket just crumble around. There's the fumble. Now here's the recovery, and watch the hit. There's the hit after recovery. Boy, that young man had a great career. I'm going to tell you one thing. If he isn't Mike Singletary, he's the nearest thing I've seen to it.
Who does he remind you of currently in the NFL?
He reminds me a lot of Ted Hendricks, who isn't currently in the NFL because Ted retired after 15 years, but he's got that same leverage, that great height. And he just uses that leverage. He's just tremendous.
Mims with the carry, and the third quarterback of the day for Baylor, Steve Needham, who led Plano High School to back-to-back 5A state championships, gets in with now 4 minutes remaining, and Baylor on top 50-7.
Now they're so far in their deep in their depth chart, they may be using some of the recruits that they're trying to get to come here.
If they fit them, they're probably
right. Put on a couple uniforms. It's been that kind of day. Everybody gets to play in this. It's just really been a showcase of Baylor, and just shows when everything goes wrong for you, what can happen for Texas.
Mims again. Cut back, 5-yard line, may be close for first and goal. Well, Spike Dykes undefeated at home on Raycom, and Grant Taft undefeated this year on Raycom. He beat SMU, TCU, Texas Tech, and now Texas, so they're 4 of his 5 victories. The Raycom factor is undeniable.
And we'll be back next year, and we'll see who the factor is.
Hey,
there's a great picture.
Oh, keep that one.
Well, I'll tell you, when you're ahead 50-7, you can do a lot of things.
You know, he may not want us to tell this story. When we saw him on the sideline with the mobile phone at SMU, and it was about this stage of the game, he was calling his daughter.
That's right. See how the baby was coming
checking on her pregnancy. Spun when you're up 43 points.
Well, I'll tell you this also. There's another perfect gentleman across the field on Texas' sideline, and that's David McWilliams. He's considered very low-key, but he's an emotional coach. Oh, boy, there's a fumble.
Mims coughed it up. Texas got it back. And Stanley Richard, the junior from Hawkins, playing like he doesn't know what the score is, and that is to his credit. 3:27 remaining. 50-7 Baylor. There are your Coors players of the game, plural for good reason. Robert Blackman, 3 interceptions, 2 returned for touchdowns, 1 return to the 5-yard line. James Francis, an interception, a fumble recovery between them, 2 touchdowns, and 19 tackles in their final collegiate performances.
And both of them justly deserved of that, my pick for all Southwest Conference teams.
And today's Coors Players of the Game award. Adrian Walker. As you look at Anthony Ray, who got into the act offensively and defensively. Recovered a fumble and scored a touchdown. And he's got the Thomas Watt look with that scarf.
Raphael, L.A. You know what that means? Los Angeles.
3 minutes remaining. Baylor will wind up 5 and 6, but when you go into the offseason off a win like this, I think you think about that a whole lot more than you think about the fact that you finished the year below 500. And they had a nice streak of winning seasons coming into this campaign. Walker again. Also, they were thought to be a prime contender for the Southwest Conference title beginning the year. David McWilliams' team picked anywhere from 3rd to 5th in most polls, and they stayed into the race until yesterday's victory by Arkansas, which by virtue of this Texas defeat now clinches the Mobile Cotton Bowl host berth, and it doesn't matter what happens when they host SMU at Little Rock next week. Gardere knocked away from Walker. One more big hit by the Baylor secondary, McFarland. Michael McFarland got the hit with 2:12 to go. And Texas again will be forced to punt. This will be the 16th punt by the two teams combined. The total yardage before that series was separated by only 43 yards, exactly 1 yard per point when you look at the scoreboard. It was Baylor 248, Texas 205. And stats can occasionally lie, and this is one day when they have done so. Maston almost blocked the punt. Liljedahl with a beauty. But a Baylor bounce, and Bierman downs it near the 30. Still 2:01 remaining here at Memorial Stadium in Austin, and the Bears are going to continue to enjoy it. 2 minutes, 1 second remaining in the season for Baylor. Texas was hoping, as we said, to get a chance to win this one and then face the Aggies for the Cotton Bowl host berth next week, and they still have that one game to try and redeem themselves from this historic loss, the first in this stadium to the Bears since 1951. Needham with the give to Mims. Hunt made the tackle at the 34-yard line, and if Texas can pull off the upset at College Station next week, nobody's going to remember this one for very long.
Well, that's true, and I really think that Texas has got a great heart. They just were so flat coming out because of that loss yesterday. They expected that A&M would win. They expected that they would all of a sudden get a chance to play for the Cotton Bowl. I think they'll play a good football game next week. I really do. I think that they'll play as hard as they possibly can. And it won't be the results, I doubt, will be like this today.
Anthony Ray struggles to get back to the line, and the Aggies would be primed for the letdown that Texas experienced today because they came so close and lost by 1 to Arkansas yesterday.
Absolutely. The roles are quite reversed because Texas will be coming in there playing again for pride. They've been embarrassed today by 50-7 score, and they're going to play with a lot of pride. A&M is going to turn around. They'll play with pride, but they're going to have an emotional letdown because they lost the chance at the Cotton Bowl.
And if you were told coming into the last 2 games for the Baylor season that they'd score 3 against one and 50 against the other, they were going to play Rice in Texas, what would you have guessed? Which would give up 3, which would give up 50? Anthony Ray to the 39 on 3rd down, 38 seconds remaining.
Well, I don't think you can take anything against him. Grant Tapp said it himself. You can't take anything against Rice. They have turned the corner. They're playing with respectability, but I would never have thought that they would have scored, like you say, 3 points against Rice and 50 today against Texas.
And Pat says that'll do it. They don't have to get another snap off.
Yeah, they're just going to run down the clock. They're not even going to break the huddle. You see the Texas players walking across to shake hands. You have this fantastic. Oh, dump. Now he's got splashed with water. I see that.
Maybe the biggest win in Grant Taft's coaching career when you consider the history he overcame today. 38 years of frustration ends at Memorial Stadium to the tune of 50-7.